Hello.
Hi, Laura.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. Is that a fire? Thank you, first of all, for having me. As my husband says, any opportunity to talk and share about what I do, I'm in. Obviously, I'm passionate about what I do. So a little bit of my background. Okay, I'll try to keep it short. I started doing energy work, really connecting in with, I would say, the quantum physics, quantum field kind of thing back in the late 90s. I met Marie Diamond. So those of you who don't know who Marie Diamond is, she was the feng shui master in the movie The Secret. And she created 3 methods. Inner Diamond, which is a meditation, diamond dowsing, which is dowsing, environmental, and diamond feng shui. I met her through the Inner Diamond. That's the first course I took. Absolutely loved it, changed my life, began teaching the Inner Diamond in 2005. Well, shortly after that, I found out she was a feng shui master. So I had no idea she was a feng shui master when I met her. Never went into the feng shui world. My brain doesn't work that way. So I never went there. But in 2005, she brought forward the diamond dowsing and fell in love with that, started teaching that. And in 2007, became the vice president of her company, moved to California for 4 years. And in 2012, she was here on a 10-year visa. So in 2012, she moved back to Europe. She's now in southern France, and I moved to Minneapolis. So it's really short. But how I really got into what I'm doing now is through the diamond dowsing. So I'm one of those people that when I didn't know about this, I would walk in a room and feel the energy of a space. And I would know if it felt good or not so good. And a lot of times when it didn't feel good, I thought it was me. So I was doing all this stuff to change my energy. And after I took the diamond dowsing, realized that I was feeling and sensing the energy of a space, and found out how to douse for it, ask questions, and cure it. And so that's been my passion since then. So what happened from there, so it opened me up to this world of energy and the environment of the land. And like anything, like once you take something and start working with it, it just keeps opening and unfolding into deeper and more expansive information. One of the things that happened at the end of the class, my first diamond dowsing class that I took, Marie she opened up what's called a portal. And there were 14 of us that sat around in a circle holding space with the portal in the center. And we held space for over 200 souls to step into this portal to be released. That absolutely ignited me. Like, oh my God, we can open portals. There's portals. And what's this all about? And I want to do this. Like, I've just seeing and feeling that energy of these souls. It was like an energetic elevator. I was just taking them up. And there was this energy of celebration. And it was just such a joyful thing. And the room felt lighter when we were done.
And Annette, for those who don't know what releasing souls mean, can you talk a little bit about that? Like,
yeah. So when we're all souls incarnated in a physical body. And when we die, in the best scenario, our soul leaves the body and returns to what I call the OverSoul. So our soul isn't just this piece that's in the body. There's this OverSoul of all of our lifetimes and all of our energy, our soul, it's a universal soul. So this isn't our only energy that we bring in. So again, after the soul leaves the body, it dies. In the best case, it goes back into this oversoul and then reincarnates again. There are times when the soul does not leave this dimension, does not leave this plane. So we would refer to them as ghosts, haunted places. So there's all this fear built around these souls that are stuck here. So there's many, many reasons that they don't leave. Sometimes there's an attachment to a person, a place, and they don't leave. Sometimes it's trauma, shock, so many different ways that could keep them stuck. So if you, we grow up with these stories about spirits and ghosts in the basement. I was, petrified of going in my basement when I was a kid because of all the stories told around, Girl Scout campfires. So we have all this fear around it. But after my experience is like, we call them wandering spirits. Sometimes these spirits are stuck in spaces. So they're not wandering, they're just stuck in a house, this haunted house. But that's what I talk about when we release spirits.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I knew what you were talking about.
Does that help? Okay. So I'm gonna share that story that I shared on Candy's podcast. So this is where it has come to. So every time I have taught a dowsing class, I started teaching dowsing got certified a year and a half after I took the dowsing class. And every time I taught a dowsing class, I would end the same way, teaching people how to open up portals, how to release spirits. I work with light frequencies to help the spirits. It's like sending them prayer, sending them energy, light. So when they see the portal, they can release anything that has kept them stuck. So that's been going on for years. And I would say about 4 or 5 years ago, I really started being brought into places where there's a lot of spirits stuck, like groups of spirits that went through some kind of experience or tragedy. So last summer, Candy Brothel, she owns Natural Awakenings, and I do advertising with her and stuff, but she asked me to come up. She was selling her house up in Crystal. Is that it? No. Darn, I forgot the name of the city already. It was up north.
Or no, is it Minnesota or Wisconsin?
It was Minnesota.
Okay.
Oh.
Was it Moose Lake?
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Moose Lake. I'm glad somebody has a memory. So she lived in Moose Lake. She was selling her house, but she also knew it needed to be doused and cleared out before she sold it. And she had already bought a house closer to town. So went up there. And on the way up, my husband's driving. I'm on my phone. I'm going, let me look up the history of Moose Lake. So I'm looking up the history of Moose Lake and find out that there was this horrific fire that went through 3 cities up there. And I'm sorry, I should have these memorized by now, and it's been a while. But there's 3 cities up there that this fire went through very quickly. It started, it was a very dry fall, early 1900s, so it was a while ago. And so I'm tuning into this. And then the other thing the article said, there were over 200 souls, 200 people that died in that fire. So it's like, oh, okay. Now I know why I'm being called up there. So I go up there, douse Candy's house, we do a space clearing, and we open up a couple portals, and it turns out that Candy's grandfather lived in one of the other cities, and he escaped on a train with his father, and I believe a brother as well. So here Candy had a connection to somebody who was in the fire. And one of the things that we did then at the end, after the dowsing was done, is sit and open up portals. And we opened up 2 portals. Not all of the souls that died in the fire were stuck, but it felt like when I looked at the numbers, it was probably 160, 170 souls that were released. But when you have that kind of an experience, and that's what keeps souls stuck. So with the clearing work, all these souls, because they were stuck, they were carrying grief. Some of them were carrying anger. There was a train in the other city, not Moose Lake. So a lot of people left on the train, but it was like a Titanic experience where the train pulled out of like panic and fear, and a lot of people were left behind and they burned to death. So all of that emotion, grief, anger, shock, all of that energy is so heavy, it keeps those spirits stuck. A spirit has to be, a soul has to be light enough in order to see the portal and to go into it. So this is a huge part of the clearing work, because that the spirits that are stuck, the souls that are stuck, they hold a lower vibrational frequency. That's what's keeping them stuck, whatever it is. And that lower vibrational frequency affects the vibration and the energy of a space and of the earth overall. So you think of all of these spirits from eons of time, wars, tragedies, massacres, a lot of the things I've been called to. I work a lot with Native American spirits. So the Native Americans, lots of starvation, lots of massacres. So that's one of the things that I've been focusing on or being called to do, especially over the last probably 6 or 7 years. So that was the Moose Lake experience. Candy was blown away. I was blown away. And it was like this amazing experience. So what happened after that, I think within 10 days, she got an offer on her house and she sold her house. But it really felt like it took her to call me up to do the work so she can be finished with that space. Somebody is usually aware of spirits, aware of the energy of a land. Somebody has to see it in order to release the spirits. Okay.
And is that kind of what drew you into the healing work you're currently doing? Just the desire to help free souls, or does it have more to do with the situation of the planet, or?
Both. So it's like that led me into, so I've been doing that work for years, and I know I'll continue to do that work. I'm just so passionate about releasing these spirits. One last thing before I move on about the souls. Whenever a soul is stuck, like our soul is here to evolve. And in order to evolve, we have to leave this dimension, we have to leave this body and to continue our journey, our soul journey. So as long as that soul is stuck, it cannot evolve. It's stuck in that experience, it's stuck in that, wherever it is, it's stuck. So when we release these souls, they continue to on their soul journey. And then they can do whatever they're doing outside of this planet, outside of this experience, and incarnate at some point in the future. But otherwise they're stuck. So that's been my passion for years. What that brought me to then, so I've been opening portals. I love opening portals. So a portal is basically a fourth dimensional connection between the third and the fifth dimension. So I work with 24 light frequencies. I use quantum energy rings. I use tools, but mostly the energy, the light frequencies, to open up these portals, and people see it's a doorway. So they can, I call it an energetic elevator. They can step in and they're brought up. Or I shouldn't even say brought up. They just go to wherever they need to go, put it that way. So as I started doing that work, I met a woman named Brenda, I want to say about 5 years ago. So she took my dowsing class, and as we were sharing, she was telling me that, well, how about all of the earth beings that are stuck here? And I'm going, oh, what do you mean? And so Brenda was very connected to earth energies and elementals, fairies, divas, gnomes, all of those beings that are here working with Mother Earth. So we started talking about it, and she said, yeah, like when we don't communicate with trees and we cut them down, a lot of them, they get stuck here, just like souls. They're in trauma, they don't know where else to go, they get stuck. So I ended up going out to her place, dousing her house. I brought, by that time, we had created, Marie and I created what's called a grounding ring, an earth ring. So it was a way to connect with the Mother Earth, the heart of Mother Earth. That was how it was activated. So people that didn't feel grounded sat in the ring and they felt grounded. So it was awesome. But after meeting Brenda, I brought that out, and she's going, we've got to open up a portal for them too. So I brought this earth ring, this grounding ring out, placed it with the intention of it being a portal. So Brenda sees all the beings, earth beings now, and they don't go up. They're not going to go up into a portal. They have to go back and return to Mother Earth. That's their service. They're in service to Mother Earth. So I put down the ring with the intention of it being a portal, and she saw a line of earth beings, light beings working with Mother Earth, line up for about 2 or 3 blocks. So this is what she's describing to me. Now, I'm not seeing this, she is. So put the ring down, and first one comes up, and he's kind of the brave one. He's going, okay, I'm going to check this out. So he's looking like down the hole of the ring, and finally he decides, oh, okay, I might be safe, I'll try it. And he jumps in, and she sees him go down counterclockwise through water and land wherever he needed to land. So the next ones, it's like they knew that he got home okay, or wherever he needed to go. So there's all these dimensional, the earth has dimensions as well. We have the mineral kingdom, the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, and these beings are in service to Mother Earth, working in these different realms, different kingdoms. So then the other ones started following in, and it's like she heard him, like, then it became like a pool party. Like everybody in the pool, and they're all jumping in and they're going down, and it became a celebration. And I'm going, wow, okay, it's interesting. So a couple weeks later, I'm dousing another house. Turns out, through conversation, finding out that this person also was very connected to earth energies. I'm going, now I started carrying this ring with me. I'm going, well, I just did this once, but do you mind if you kind of share with me what you experience when I put this down? We're going to help these beings go home. And she said, sure. So I put it down, didn't tell her the other person's experience. And she had the same experience. She saw the same thing. So by now, it's like there's a level of communication that happens among these beings. And it's like there wasn't anyone testing the waters this time. They just all knew that this was a portal that would get them back to where they needed to be. And she saw the same thing. Counterclockwise, going down a slide, going through the water, just going to wherever they needed to be, back in service to Mother Earth. So that was about 4 or 5 years ago. So every time I do a dowsing now, I open up a portal for the earth spirits too, anybody who's stuck.
Mhm.
So one of the things that I had heard as far as the opportunity that we have right now in this time is putting everything in divine order. So, and that's what I feel or experience this as. Spirits go back, the souls go back to where they need to go, earth energies go back to where they need to go, and we're putting everything back in order, divine order, as we do this work. So that was my experience, and that got me into really connecting in with Mother Earth in a deeper way. I now work with, once I opened up, and again, it's like it's exponential, it keeps expanding. After that, it was about a year and a half later, when I started working with the earth, clearing the energy of the land. Fairies started showing up. So I have now call them my army of fairies that I call in when I do clearing work, and they help with the clearing work. And I don't know sometimes when I call them in what's going to be, what needs to happen, but they just they're just there. And it's like they're doing things that I wouldn't have even thought of doing. It's pretty amazing. So so now I'm opening, I've been becoming more and more open to these different beings and working with these different elementals, divas, fairies. And one of the things, I'm going to show you a book, and I've really been talking about this. So about a month and a half, 2 months ago, before all of this, one of my friends recommended this book. It's called Summer with the Leprechauns. So this is what it looks like. And the author's name is Tanis Hallowell. Okay. So back in the 90s, she goes to Ireland for 2 months, and she went for like a personal retreat. She rented a cottage, and she went with the intention of becoming enlightened. She was going to meditate, go for walks, just spend all that time just being by herself. And she goes into this cottage, this rented cottage, and she sees energetically as well other dimensions. And there's a family of leprechauns that are living in this cottage. And I would say the father leprechaun, so it's a father, a man, wife, and his 2 children. So the man, his name is Lloyd, that's the name he gave her to use. He's here, he talks about he volunteered to start working with humans. So there can be a co-creative collaboration of how we can help heal Mother Earth. So it's not just connecting in with the vibration of Mother Earth, but it's connecting with all of these beings. They all have different jobs, but some of them are stepping forward to work with us, and some of us are stepping forward to work with them. So there's this collaborative energy happening right now, and this is where it's taken me since 2005 in the dowsing, and it just keeps getting more exciting.
So a couple questions coming through the chat here. Can you speak more about what the 3rd, 4th, and 5th dimensions are?
Yes. Okay. Um, Third dimension is everything that we see, feel, touch, smell, taste, experience with our five physical senses. So our body is living in the third dimension. Okay. Let me use an analogy. So this came up when I was writing my book, and it makes sense for a lot of people. So third dimension, think about a seed. Okay. So the seed is planted in the earth, it's underground, it's not connected to sunlight yet, but it has all of the potential of what it's going to become. But it's totally in that third dimensional realm. So as it sprouts, it comes through the ground. Now it has access to the sun. So the fourth dimension is when a soul awakens, connects in with its own inner light, the light of the universe. It starts waking up, it's awakening. So it goes through this process, and if you think of a plant that has a stem and leaves, and it just keeps growing and growing. Fifth dimension is when it has a flower and it has seeds, and now it expresses itself in that fifth dimension. So it's a vibrational field, and as we go from the third to the fourth to the fifth, there's more light, less density, and I call it an expanded consciousness. Okay, so these beings, and that talk about in this Summer of the Leprechauns, they actually they live more in the fourth dimension. She talks about them being in the astral field, so they're not actually in the third dimension. So a lot of people that are seeing these beings, they have to be connected at least in the fourth dimension to see etherically, to see energy. People living in just the third dimension, and you hear about them or see them, it's like, well, that's not real. That doesn't exist. So I don't talk about a lot of what I do with a lot of people. It's like, well, if they can't see it, it doesn't exist, right? So, but once people reach that fourth dimension, the five spiritual senses start opening up. So some people hear, some people smell, some people feel, some people see, and it's like there's an expansion of light, more light and less density as you go up into these dimensions. Hope
Very
that
helpful.
makes sense.
Yeah. And then one other question, can you tell us anything else about elementals and divas?
Yeah. So these are, so just like when we connect in with angels, spiritual masters, light beings, that we either connect to, we meditate with, or pray to, there's also light beings that work with Mother Earth. And they have specific jobs. They have specific duties. Each one, some of them, like elementals. So one of the things, and I learned something from this book, Summer with the Leprechauns, the elemental kingdom is comparable to the human kingdom. It's like the elemental kingdom, and within that elemental kingdom, there are races of beings. So within that group, there are the elves, the fairies, the gnomes. She mentions trolls in that book. They're there as well. So leprechauns, of course, but all of these beings have specific duties that are helping work with Mother Earth. So, and let me share this. I think it was fascinating. So years ago, I picked up a book about Findhorn. So if you've ever heard of Findhorn, Scotland, it's a place where a group of people went, and they were, I don't know if they were called there, I don't remember the details, but they ended up there working with divas. So diva energy, they have different vibrations, different purposes, And the divas are kind of like the queens, the kings. They're very stately energy. They're very powerful. So this group of people that went to Scotland started working in with the divas and creating these gardens. And there's pictures, I think this was back in the 1930s, there's pictures of these gardens where the produce was 10 times the normal size. They were growing these incredible size produce that tasted delicious. And there were pictures, they were able to grow these fruits and vegetables during winter. So there were pictures with ice crystals on the plants, on the fruit. But when we work with this energy, whatever it is we're called to, we can start co-creating with them. And that, to me, that was like a perfect example of the potential that we have. Now, I know there's, Findhorst still exists, and there's people that go there for retreats, for, visiting. I'm not sure what they're doing at this point, but that was phenomenal when I read that book.
Okay, so one more question coming through the chat here. So the question is, I'm curious about the opening portal work you've done. Have you encountered darker forces since it's a doorway, which in my mind, it opens up both ways. Souls move in and they can move out. If
Yep.
you have encountered darker forces, how do you deal with it?
Okay, so yes, not when I open up a portal. So that's one of the things I teach is working with light frequencies. It's a portal that connects, it's all light. Okay, so nothing can come back in. So that's really important. Through the dowsing, there are portals that are opened up in some people's homes that I would say entities, dark forces have come in. So there are beings that, let me explain something here. So a portal, let me go back further. So the earth has a physical body, it has an etheric body. So just like us, we have a physical body, we have an etheric body. The etheric body of the planet is created by ley lines. It's made up of ley lines. So when, and this is part of the dowsing that I teach, when these ley lines cross at a perfect 90-degree angle, it creates a positive field. And it's very uplifting. It's not a portal, it's just an uplifting field. When they cross, when they move out of that 90 degree, it goes into a downward spiral, and it pulls people into like the deepest, darkest part of themselves. I had a grandson who, my daughter moved into a house, my grandson, 4-year-old at the time, started having terrible tantrums. He had a negative vortex in his bedroom, cured it, he was fine. That's a short story. But not all of negative vortexes are portals. So in the etheric field around the earth, there are beings that open up portals from their end to enter our dimension. So there are times, about a year ago, I was called to a house, and this girl, a young woman, when she was sleeping at night, she almost felt like she was being attacked energetically. So I went over there, and here there was a portal that had opened up, and it came into her bedroom next to her bed, and it gave the beings that opened up that portal access to her energy field, and that's what she was feeling. So when I encountered those kinds of things, those also are portals, and yes, they can open up or bring in negative beings. I don't want to say they're not all negative. I'm not going to go into all of the discussion around that. Some of these beings just got lost. But when I close the portal, it's like I empty out, it's like emptying out a subway station, and then I close it. So it's like, again, sending them back to wherever they came from, But I do it by creating a positive vortex first, send them back with that intention, close it off. So yeah, there's both, but the ones that I open up, because I'm working with like frequencies with highest intention, it doesn't bring anything back. It just goes up. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so another one, are you okay with questions?
Oh, I love questions. Can you tell? I don't know.
We're getting some good ones, so I'm going to keep feeding them to you here. Can you
Yeah.
describe our OverSoul more? You mentioned OverSoul.
Yeah, I love this piece. Okay. So an oversoul, it's basically our soul. Okay. But one of the things that I learned over the years is, so think about, you have a soul in this lifetime. And this is where some people, when they start meditating, they start taking classes, and it's like, oh, I have a sense that I'm connected to a planet, or I have a previous lifetime. So our oversoul is our soul. But what happens in our experience of our soul is, I describe it as a piece of that goes and incarnates somewhere to learn something, and they learn it and bring it whatever information, whatever spiritual gifts, whatever you've learned or maybe didn't learn. And this is where karma comes back in, right? Maybe you've had a karmic lifetime. So you bring that energy back into this soul. And if we're at a certain point when we're so connected in the field, like we can connect in with many lifetimes all at once. And these are all the lifetimes where an aspect of our soul goes into an incarnation, has an experience, some good, some not so good, and brings that energy back into your soul. And that's how our soul is in this process of coming into a field of oneness. Like whatever has created separation with all of those lifetimes, with all of those pieces, we get to heal them. So the other aspect, and it's kind of like soul retrieval. So soul retrieval is you going back, kind of like you have a soul somewhere stuck somewhere on this planet that could have gotten stuck in a past lifetime as well. And it's like, it's a spirit out there, and you're going to go and retrieve it. Okay. So this, give you an example. So after I started really working with this and becoming aware and understanding it, this is back in probably 2007 or 8, I had a dream one night, and it was a lucid dream, clairvoyant dream, whatever you want to call it. So in my dream, it's like I was there. I'm watching this. Basically, I'm an observer. So I see this house. It was in eastern part of the United States. It was a brick house, like in those red brick houses that they have out there. So I'm watching this house. My husband in this lifetime is my husband in that experience. I see him go to the front door, open it, and someone shoots him. And I know that the person who shot my husband also had shot her son. I just know that. So now I'm seeing myself running from that room to the back of the house. This person comes after me and shoots me. And I see my soul just leave my body, come out of the house, and I'm seeing, now I'm a ghost, right? I'm seeing myself as a ghost looking in the windows of this house. I didn't leave the experience. It was shock. It was like I wanted to get back in, but I couldn't. So I woke up the next morning, and I don't know exactly where it was, but I followed it. I connected with it wherever it was, opened up a portal for it, and released it. It's soul retrieval. I did my own soul retrieval. But we have these different pieces of our soul having these different experiences. And it's on some level, it's all happening now, but it's not. We say past life, now, future life, but in the field of oneness, everything is happening now. And we can connect. Once we connect in with that fifth dimensional field, we can see things as an observer and see our other lifetimes. And that's really fun. Other questions?
Yeah,
I'm hoping I'm answering these okay. And so if you have more, let me know.
I'm not getting follow-up questions when you're done, so that usually is a good.
Okay.
Okay, another related to the portal. So if someone often sees ghosts in their house, even if the home has been energetically cleared time and time again, does it usually mean their home has a portal? And if so, can portals be closed more permanently?
Yes. So 2 things on that. For one thing, yes, portals can be closed permanently. But the other thing is the spirits, they're not going to come through portals. It's entities and other dark energies that come through portals. Spirits do not. So if there's a spirit stuck there and it's been cleansed, sometimes even if, like when I open up a portal, I always open up a portal and invite them in, who's ever ready. Not all the spirits are ready. Like I said earlier, sometimes there's attachments. Sometimes, give you another example. A couple of years ago, I'm brought into this place. It was a rehab place for women. And one of the rooms, everyone who slept in there heard noises, felt energy. Some of them saw a spirit. So I opened up a portal. I went there. They called me in, opened up a portal, and she didn't leave. It's like, well, here's the portal. She wasn't leaving. So turns out, so then I connect with them. So I always go into my heart. We hold space with unconditional love to let them know that they're supported. I see them. And as I'm tuning into her energy, she had committed suicide. And sometimes the spirits, the souls tell me stories of what happened to them. They want to share something. But this energy of suicide was keeping her stuck. And beneath that, she had been sexually abused. So it happened, felt like back in the 30s, 40s. This was an older building. And she had been stuck there that whole time. But even when you open a portal or try to cleanse a space, if there is something that is keeping them stuck there, their vibration is so low, they cannot move out of that energy. So what I do is I send them light. So I work again with 24 light frequencies. I keep sending them light, waiting for them to kind of wake up. They're almost like comatose. They're just there. And I have to help them raise their vibration so their vibration is high enough to step into the portal. Okay. So sometimes when I know sometimes people say, well, I released it and it's back. Spirits never come back once they're released. If it's back, it's because they never left. Okay.
So, Annette, have there always been people doing this work, or is there something energetically that's happening now that's allowing like you to step in and assist?
Yeah. So more souls are waking up. I've worked with a lot of souls. So souls haven't always souls doing this. I call it, we're stepping into we have to create a new program around it for some people. So I've worked with quite a few people over the years that call me up and say, I'm having souls, spirits come in my house all the time. I can't sleep, I can't work. And when I tune into them on a soul level, they were doing this work in a past life. So in previous times, souls that were doing this work were few and far between. But what they would do, they would be the portal. There would be so much light that they would hold that the spirits would be attracted to them, and they were the portal. And it's kind of like, so all these spirits are coming in and they don't know how to stop it. So what I had to help these people with is creating a new program of helping them create boundaries for themselves, boundaries for their house, how to open up a portal outside of their house. So this one woman helped her with that. And every morning, so it's spirit communication. We can communicate with these spirits and say, hey, I'm going to open up a portal every morning at 8 o'clock, whatever time it is, and it's going to be open for 20 minutes. This is your chance to leave. So first morning she did that. She woke up, created her boundaries, all of that, told them where to line up, where the portal's going to be. And she had a line about 2 blocks long waiting for her to open up that portal. So a lot of the things that has happening, 2 things is a lot of these souls are coming back to continue to do this work, but we also need an updated program, knowing that we don't have to bring them through our own energy field. And that's really important. And because of the consciousness of the planet, all the light coming in, people are really stepping into their service. And we need so many souls being released right now. And the fact is, with all this light coming in, we can see more of them too. Some of them, when I start working with them, they're under like energetic blankets. You can't even see the souls. You just see the pain or the shock or the grief, anger that's created this low vibrational energy. And it's like, I've got to lift the blanket up before the souls can start waking up. But with all the light coming in our planet now, yeah, there's more and more people called to do this work. And that's why I wrote the book.
So I know I took you off topic with a lot of questions.
Oh, this is so fun.
We have about 5 minutes left. Was there anything else you were intending to share that you wanted to before we close off for the night?
The last thing I want to make sure that you know about is, and this is something new, so because of the work I've been doing and the work I'm continuing to do, it just felt time to share a lot of these tools with others. So I've created a program called Healing Mother Earth. It's online, of course. It starts May 11th. It's May 11th or 12th. It's a Tuesday for 4 weeks. And what I want to do, I just love connecting people to these realms. So we're going to really learn about the different realms, mineral, plant, animal, beings that are there, and start energetically connecting with them. We're in this time of feminine energy coming in. So the feminine energy is allowing us a deeper connection with the earth, with these realms. And so a lot of, part of it will be healing our own disconnect. So I look at the witches being burned, that stopped a lot of this information, a lot of this connection. And we have to heal that to reconnect with the earth. And what happens is magical.
And is that on your website right now?
It will be on Monday. I'm finalizing it. Okay. But yeah, my assistant is, I think she's coming back to work on Monday, and she'll have it up.
Okay, we'll make sure everybody gets the link then to your website. There is, we do have someone with their hand up, so I'm going to unmute you. Is it Simon? Could you say your name? Simon.
Yes, Simine.
Go ahead.
My name is Simine. So basically what she's trying to teach us is healing Mother Earth, is releasing the spirits that are stuck here.
Oh, no, I've got another program called Soul Whisper program.
Okay.
And helps people open up the portals. So healing all of this is about healing Mother Earth.
Okay.
So healing the trauma. So if you think about all of the emotional energy, the land itself has absorbed a lot of the trauma from eons.
Right.
So what I'm going to teach in this program is how to open up a portal to help the elementals, the earth energies, to go home.
And when is that class, please?
Tuesday, May 12th.
Okay.
Okay.
I thank you for the information.
Yes, you're very welcome.
Okay, one other question, last question coming through. Any suggestions on how to enhance fairy gardens with light energy?
Oh, with light energy. Okay. So first of all, enhancing fairy gardens, a lot of it is with intention. Okay, I think you already know that. So there are, I call them the feminine frequencies. So using like a couple that are coming in right now to use. Pink is a wonderful frequency that will attract fairies. Citrus green and diamond. So it helps that open up the field. I always think about opening up the field and reconnecting. But your intention is so important when you create fairy gardens, as just creating this beautiful house for the fairies and then calling them in. They're looking for people that they feel safe with and that are open to them. Okay.
Very good. Okay. Well, Annette, thank you so much.
Is that it? Is that the hour already?
That's the hour. I know we got through that, but
Wow.
I know it's always just so interesting to hear your stories and what you have to share about information. So thank you so much for being here tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I will get this recording out for everybody tomorrow along with your website. And if people want to look into that class on May 12th, sounds like look Monday or Tuesday, it'll be posted.
Yeah, it'll be there. Okay.
Then
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I'm going to say bye for the weekend, and I'll be back Monday. And I'll be back with Patricia Beck, who's on this call today. So we'll be joining you on Monday to talk about peaceful presence, to talk about, remind me. I got the first word. What's your title again?
Practicing presence.
Practicing presence. Thank you so much.
Oh, hi, that's you.
Yeah.
I thought I recognized the name.
Okay.
Wonderful.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a
Thank
great
you.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
night.
you, Laura. Thank you, Annette.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. It was great.